In the kingdom of Lumina, where the rivers shimmered like ribbons of silver and the trees glowed with golden dust, there lived Princess Angelina, the Crystal Princess. She was born on the night of the rare moonstone eclipse, when a single beam of light touched her cradle and gifted her a magical boon: the power to speak to crystals and summon their hidden strength. Her palace was built from glowing quartz, its towers catching the sunlight and scattering rainbows across the valley. Every morning the princess would walk barefoot across the crystal garden, listening to the hum of her gemstone friends. The amethysts that sang softly, the emeralds that whispered secrets of the forest, and the diamonds that sparkled with laughter. One dawn, as she admired the sunrise, a strange shadow fell over the land. The golden rays dimmed, and the crystal towers began to lose their glow. Angelina gasped. Something was draining the light from Lumina. She ran to the royal observatory, where the wise elder, Master Orin, studied the stars. "Master Orin, why are the crystals fading?" she asked urgently. The old man's face was grave. "The mountain of light, the heart of all crystal energy, is weakening. Its guardian crystal, Solara, has been captured by the shadow serpent." Angelina's eyes widened. The shadow serpent was an ancient creature of darkness, long thought banished. "Then I must go to the mountain," she said firmly. "If Solara fades, all of Lumina will turn to stone." Master Orin nodded slowly. "Your boon will guide you, princess. But beware. The mountain tests the heart as much as the courage." The journey begins. Angelina set out with her crystal staff, its tip glowing faintly with blue light. Along the way she crossed shimmering lakes and forests of crystal trees that whispered her name as she passed. At the edge of the mountain stood the Valley of Echoes, guarded by the mirror spirits, beings made entirely of reflection. They blocked her path, shimmering like glass in the sunlight. "Why do you seek the mountain of light, child of crystal?" they asked in voices that echoed one another. Angelina lifted her chin. "I seek Solara to restore the light to my kingdom." The spirits' reflections wavered. "Then prove your heart is true. Step into the pool of mirrors and face what you fear most." She hesitated but obeyed. As she looked into the glowing pool, the reflection changed. She saw herself surrounded by darkness, her crystal shattered, her kingdom gone. For a moment, fear gripped her heart, but then she whispered softly, "I am not made of fear. I am made of light." Her courage glowed brighter than the pool, and the mirror spirits bowed. "You have passed. The mountain awaits you." The heart of the mountain, Angelina climbed the mountain until the air sparkled with frost and light. At the summit stood a cavern of pure diamond, but within, shadows coiled like smoke. The shadow serpent emerged, its eyes burning red, its scales black as onyx. "Princess of Light," it hissed, "you cannot defeat me. The world belongs to darkness now." Angelina raised her crystal staff. "Not while the light still lives in my heart." The serpent lunged, wrapping around her. But Angelina struck her staff against the ground, calling upon the crystals of the earth. "Solara, awaken!" A beam of pure golden light burst from the cavern walls. Solara, the great crystal heart of the mountain, blazed to life. The light pierced the serpent's shadow, breaking it apart into harmless smoke. The darkness shrieked and faded. Angelina stood bathed in the glow of Solara. Her staff shimmered, now crowned with a crystal flame. The return to Lumina. When she returned to Lumina, the towers glowed once more, brighter than ever. The rivers gleamed, and the flowers in the crystal garden sang her name. Master Orin bowed deeply. "You have done what no warrior could. The light of Lumina shines because of your courage." Angelina smiled softly. "It wasn't just courage, Master. It was believing that light lives even in the darkest shadows." That night the kingdom celebrated under a sky full of stars. Solara's light sparkled across the land, and Princess Angelina knew her journey had only just begun. The Crystal Princess and the Whispering Woods. The morning sun rose over Lumina, and the entire kingdom shimmered with soft golden light. Birds made of silver feathers flew across the sky, and the river sang with laughter. Princess Angelina, the Crystal Princess, stood on her balcony, feeling the warmth of the sun dance across her face. But something felt different. The air carried faint murmurs, like 100 tiny whispers riding on the wind. They seemed to call her name. "Angelina, Angelina." She leaned forward, listening closely. The voices seemed to come from the Whispering Woods, a forest at the edge of the kingdom. It was said that long ago, the woods were alive with enchanted trees, who spoke only when great danger was near. Angelina's crystal heart began to hum, a sign from her boon that magic was stirring. She turned to Master Orin, who had just entered her chamber. "Master," she said softly, "the woods are whispering again. Something is calling for help." Orin's eyes widened. "The Whispering Woods only speak when the balance of nature is threatened. You must be careful, Princess. Many who enter the forest forget their path and lose themselves to its voice." Angelina held up her glowing crystal staff. "Then I'll let the crystals guide me. If someone needs help, I must go." The journey to the Whispering Woods. She set off before noon, accompanied by her loyal crystal falcon, Leora, whose wings sparkled with sapphire dust. As they approached the forest, a soft wind blew through the branches, carrying voices that rose and fell like a song. The trees glistened faintly with dew that sparkled like diamonds. Each leaf shimmered with hidden light. Angelina reached out to touch one. It was warm and hummed gently beneath her fingers. "Princess," whispered the leaf, "our roots are weeping, our hearts are dimming." Angelina gasped. "Who is harming you?" Before she could get an answer, the ground trembled. Dark vines, thick as ropes, slithered between the trees, wrapping around trunks and choking the glowing roots. From the shadows emerged a tall figure cloaked in mist, the Keeper of Shadows, a forgotten spirit who once protected the woods but had turned bitter over centuries of silence. "You," the spirit hissed, "you shine too brightly, your crystals drown out my forest's song, so I take back what was mine." He waved his hand, and the forest darkened. The trees groaned in pain, their light fading. Angelina lifted her staff, but its glow flickered. "You are meant to guard the woods, not destroy them." "They no longer listen to me," the keeper growled. "They listen only to the wind, and the wind listens to you." The song of the forest. Angelina took a deep breath. She remembered Master Orin's words. The forest tests the heart. So instead of fighting, she knelt down and placed her hand on the earth. "Dear trees," she whispered, "remember your song, remember who you are." Her crystal staff began to hum, a low, steady tone that spread through the roots. One by one, the trees shimmered softly and began to whisper back. Leora the falcon joined in, releasing a note like a bell ringing through the air. "Light and leaf, root and rain," the princess sang. "Wake again, O woods of flame. Darkness fades where hearts unite. Breathe once more in silver light." The vines recoiled as if burned. The keeper staggered backward, clutching his chest as tiny sparks of light broke through the mist surrounding him. "What is this?" he gasped. "Forgiveness," said Angelina softly. "The woods still love you. Let them." The keeper looked around in wonder as the forest began to glow once more. His shadowy cloak dissolved, revealing a gentle, sorrowful man made of bark and moonlight. He bowed deeply to the princess. "Thank you for giving me back my song." The return of harmony. When Angelina returned to Lumina, the winds carried melodies from the Whispering Woods once more. Birds sang in harmony with the rustling leaves, and the rivers glittered brighter than ever. Master Orin greeted her at the gates. "The forest breathes again. You've brought back an ancient bond." Angelina smiled. The trees only needed to remember their voice. Sometimes light doesn't fight darkness, it heals it. That night, she placed a glowing emerald leaf in her crystal chamber, a gift from the woods, as a reminder that nature's whispers always carry wisdom if one only listens. The Crystal Princess and the Moonlit Lake. The night skies above Lumina glimmered like a velvet cloth sprinkled with diamonds. The moon was full, round, bright, and bathing the entire kingdom in a soft silvery light. Princess Angelina, the Crystal Princess, stood by her window, admiring the beauty of the night. Her crystal crown caught the moonlight and shimmered with rainbow hues. But something strange stirred within her heart that night. The moon's reflection in her window shimmered oddly, almost as if it were alive. Then faintly, she heard a soft voice carried by the breeze. "Princess of Crystal, come to me. The moon weeps upon the lake." Angelina blinked. "The moon weeps," she whispered. Her crystal heart glowed faintly, the sign that her magical boon was calling her to a new adventure. The call of the moonlit lake. The next morning she visited Master Orin in the observatory. He was studying a glowing silver map, tracing the outlines of the kingdom. "The moonlit lake has awakened," Orin murmured when she arrived. "Long ago that lake was a mirror between worlds, one of light and one of reflection. But if the mirror cracks, the balance may break." "What happens then?" asked Angelina softly. "The moon's magic will vanish from the night sky," Orin warned gravely. "And without moonlight, dreams will lose their way." Angelina placed a hand over her glowing pendant. "Then I must go. The moon calls for help, and I will answer." She took her crystal staff, and with her faithful sapphire falcon Leora, set out beneath the evening sky. The closer she came to the moonlit lake, the quieter the world became. No crickets, no wind, no sound at all. Only a shimmering mist floating above the silver water. The mirror beneath the lake. As Angelina approached, she gasped. The lake looked like a sheet of living glass. The moon's reflection was clear and perfect, yet the reflection of Angelina herself was missing. "Why don't I see myself?" she whispered. A gentle ripple answered. From the center of the lake rose a glowing figure. Her reflection, made of water and moonlight. But the reflection's eyes were sad. "I am Celine, your moon twin," said the reflection softly. "I guard the dreams that your people dream under the moonlight. But something has gone wrong. The lake's mirror is breaking. Look!" Angelina peered closer and saw cracks of shadow spreading across the lake's surface like dark veins. "What caused this?" she asked. Celine's voice trembled. "A spirit called the Collector of Reflections. He steals the light of those who doubt themselves. When he came, I tried to fight him, but I was trapped in this lake." Angelina's heart sank. "Then I will free you. The Collector appears." As soon as she spoke, a deep cold laugh echoed through the mist. From the shadows rose a tall figure cloaked in black glass, its face smooth and empty like a mirror. "You cannot fight me," it hissed. "You are but light, and I the absence of it." The Collector raised his arm, and ripples of darkness shot across the lake, swallowing the moon's glow. Angelina's staff flickered, dimming. Fear pricked at her. The shadows whispered, "You are not strong enough. You are not real." But then she heard Celine's faint voice. "The lake mirrors what's in your heart, Angelina. Believe in your light." Angelina closed her eyes. She took a deep breath and placed her hand on her crystal heart. She remembered her kingdom, her people, the laughter of the children, and the warmth of luminous sun. "My light is not a reflection," she whispered. "It comes from within." Her crystal staff blazed with brilliant silver light, brighter than the moon itself. The glow struck the Collector's dark glass, cracking it. Shards of shadow rained into the lake and vanished. Celine smiled as her body began to dissolve into sparkles of moonlight. "The balance is restored. The dreams will flow again." "Will I see you again?" Angelina asked softly. "You already do," Celine replied. "Every time you look at your reflection, remember, your strength shines from both worlds." And with that, the lake shimmered, returning to calm. The moon's reflection grew whole again, glowing brighter than ever. The return to Lumina Angelina returned home at dawn, the light of the moon still glowing faintly in her staff. Master Orin met her at the palace gate, smiling. "The moon sings again," he said. "The dreams of Lumina are safe." Angelina looked up at the fading moon. "The light within us is stronger than the darkness outside. That's what I've learned." That night, when the moon rose once more, its glow was warmer, as if smiling down at the crystal princess who had saved it. The Crystal Princess and the Sands of Time. The sun hung high above Lumina, golden and fierce. The palace crystals sparkled so brightly that they painted rainbows on every wall. Princess Angelina, the Crystal Princess, was sitting in her garden, stringing little gemstones into a necklace for a young villager's birthday. Just as she tied the last knot, the sky flickered. For a brief moment the air froze, birds mid-flight, petals caught mid-fall. And then, everything began to move again, as though nothing had happened. Angelina frowned. "Leora," she said to her falcon, "did you feel that?" Leora ruffled her sapphire wings and chirped uneasily. Something was wrong. Angelina ran to the crystal tower, where Master Orin stood before a giant hourglass made of diamond and gold. Its sands shimmered with starlight, but now it was cracked, and the golden grains of time spilled onto the floor. "Master Orin!" cried Angelina. "What's happening?" Orin's face was pale. "The hourglass of Lumina, the heart of time, has been broken. Time is slipping from our world. If it empties completely, Lumina will fall into endless stillness." Angelina's eyes widened. Who could do such a thing? Orin whispered gravely, "There are whispers that Krona, the keeper of the desert of time ***, has awoken. She once controlled the flow of time itself. But she vanished into the sands ages ago." Her heart turned cold. Angelina stood tall, her crystal crown glowing faintly. "Then I will find her. If time is slipping away, I will bring it back." The desert of time. Angelina journeyed eastward, beyond the shining valleys of Lumina. The world grew quiet and endless. Dunes of golden sand stretched as far as the eye could see. Each grain sparkled like starlight under the blazing sun. But the desert was strange. The more she walked, the more the sky seemed to change. Morning turning to night, then back to dawn. All in the span of minutes. Time was broken here. Her footsteps left shimmering trails behind her, like threads of light in the sand. "Stay close, Leora," she whispered. After hours of wandering, she came upon an enormous sundial buried halfway in the sand. And beside it, a woman stood, tall, graceful, wrapped in robes of bronze and gold, her eyes glimmering with shifting light. "Princess of Lumina," said the woman, "I am Krona." "Why have you come?" Angelina bowed slightly. "The sands of time are leaking from the hourglass of my kingdom. The world is freezing. You hold the power of time. I beg you, help me restore it." Krona's gaze was distant. "Time once served me, but mortals used it foolishly. They wished to change the past, to skip the pain that shapes them. I sealed myself here to stop the world from making the same mistake." Angelina took a step forward. "But time is not our enemy. It is our teacher. Without it, there is no growth, no healing, no love." Krona tilted her head, intrigued but cautious. "Then prove you understand its power. Step into the circle of time." The test of time before them, a circle of ancient stones, glowed. As Angelina stepped inside, everything around her vanished. She stood in darkness, and then she saw scenes of her life play before her. She saw herself as a little girl, lonely in the palace, afraid of her powers. Then she saw her first victory, saving the Mountain of Light. And finally, a future vision. Lumina turning gray, her people frozen mid-laughter. Her heart trembled. This is what will happen if time stops," a voice echoed. Krona's voice. "Would you change your past if you could? Erase your pain?" Angelina closed her eyes, and tears glimmered on her lashes. "No, because my pain helped me understand others. My mistakes taught me compassion. And my journey made me who I am." The darkness shattered like glass. Krona stood before her once more, eyes soft now. "You speak with the wisdom of centuries. Though you have lived but few years, you have passed the test." She raised her hands, and from the sand rose a magnificent hourglass. Vast, glowing with gold and crystal. The grains flowed upward, swirling into light. "Take this, princess," said Krona. "The sands of time belong once more to Lumina, because you remember that time, when cherished, never truly runs out." Return to Lumina. Angelina returned to her kingdom, carrying a handful of golden sand. She poured it into the great hourglass in the crystal tower. Instantly, the cracks mended, and the sands began to glow once more, flowing in perfect rhythm. The birds sang again, the rivers sparkled, and laughter returned to the palace halls. Master Orin bowed deeply. "The flow of time is steady again. You've done the impossible." Orin's face was pale. "The hourglass of Lumina, the heart of time, has been broken. Time is slipping from our world. If it empties completely, Lumina will fall into endless stillness." Angelina's eyes widened. Who could do such a thing? Orin whispered gravely, "There are whispers that Krona, the keeper of the desert of time ***, has awoken. She once controlled the flow of time itself. But she vanished into the sands ages ago." Her heart turned cold. Angelina stood tall, her crystal crown glowing faintly. "Then I will find her. If time is slipping away, I will bring it back." The desert of time. Angelina journeyed eastward beyond the shining valleys of Lumina. The world grew quiet and endless. Dunes of golden sand stretched as far as the eye could see. Each grain sparkled like starlight under the blazing sun. But the desert was strange. The more she walked, the more the sky seemed to change. Morning turning to night, then back to dawn, all in the span of minutes. Time was broken here. Her footsteps left shimmering trails behind her, like threads of light in the sand. "Stay close, Leora," she whispered. After hours of wandering, she came upon an enormous sundial buried halfway in the sand, and beside it a woman stood, tall, graceful, wrapped in robes of bronze and gold, her eyes glimmering with shifting light. "Princess of Lumina," said the woman. "I am Crona. Why have you come?" Angelina bowed slightly. "The sands of time are leaking from the hourglass of my kingdom. The world is freezing. You hold the power of time. I beg you, help me restore it." Crona's gaze was distant. "Time once served me, but mortals used it foolishly. They wished to change the past, to skip the pain that shapes them. I sealed myself here to stop the world from making the same mistake." Angelina took a step forward. "But time is not our enemy. It is our teacher. Without it there is no growth, no healing, no love." Crona tilted her head, intrigued but cautious. "Then prove you understand its power. Step into the circle of time." The test of time before them. A circle of ancient stones glowed. As Angelina stepped inside, everything around her vanished. She stood in darkness, and then she saw scenes of her life play before her. She saw herself as a little girl, lonely in the palace, afraid of her powers. Then she saw her first victory, saving the Mountain of Light. And finally, a future vision, Lumina turning grey, her people frozen mid-laughter. Her heart trembled. This is what will happen if time stops," a voice echoed. Crona's voice. "Would you change your past if you could? Erase your pain?" Angelina closed her eyes, and tears glimmered on her lashes. "No. Because my pain helped me understand others. My mistakes taught me compassion. And my journey made me who I am." The darkness shattered like glass. Crona stood before her once more, eyes soft now. "You speak with the wisdom of centuries, though you have lived but few years. You have passed the test." She raised her hands, and from the sand rose a magnificent hourglass, vast, glowing with gold and crystal. The grains flowed upward, swirling into light. "Take this, princess," said Crona. "The sands of time belong once more to Lumina, because you remember that time, when cherished, never truly runs out. Return to Lumina." Angelina returned to her kingdom, carrying a handful of golden sand. She poured it into the great hourglass in the crystal tower. Instantly the cracks mended, and the sands began to glow once more, flowing in perfect rhythm. The birds sang again, the rivers sparkled, and laughter returned to the palace halls. Master Orin bowed deeply. "The flow of time is steady again. You've done the impossible." Angelina smiled. "Time isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be lived, moment by moment." That night she placed a single grain of golden sand inside her pendant, a reminder that every moment, even the smallest one, holds its own magic. The Crystal Princess and the Frozen Kingdom. The kingdom of Lumina basked under a soft spring sun. Flowers sparkled like tiny gems, and the rivers hummed cheerful songs. Princess Angelina, the Crystal Princess, was teaching children in the village how to make crystal charms that glowed when they laughed. Suddenly, a sharp wind swept through the valley. The warm air turned cold. The flowers froze mid-bloom, and frost crept across the palace steps. Leora, Angelina's sapphire falcon, let out a startled cry. Angelina looked toward the northern mountains. They were covered in a thick storm of ice and mist. Her crystal heart began to glow faintly, warning her that magic was at work again. "Master Orin," she called as she hurried into the great hall, "something's happening to the north." Orin's face was grave. "A frozen mist has descended from the kingdom of Frostvale, beyond the crystal peaks. It is ruled by Queen Seraphina, a spirit of ice and snow. But I fear she's fallen under a terrible curse, one that freezes not only her land but her heart." Angelina clenched her staff. "Then I must go to Frostvale. If her kingdom remains frozen, the frost will reach Lumina next." Orin placed a hand on her shoulder. "Beware, princess. Ice can hide both beauty and danger." Angelina smiled gently. "So can light, master." Journey to Frostvale. The journey north was perilous. The air grew colder with each step. Snow fell thick and silent, coating the world in white stillness. Angelina wrapped her crystal cloak around her shoulders. It shimmered faintly, keeping her warm with light from her heart. By the third day she reached the crystal peaks, their jagged tops glittering like frozen stars. Leora flew above her, guiding the way. But soon Angelina saw figures moving within the snow. Ice sentinels, towering guardians carved of frost. Their eyes glowed blue, and their voices rumbled like thunder. "Who dares enter Frostvale?" they boomed. "I am Princess Angelina of Lumina," she replied firmly. "I seek Queen Seraphina to end this curse." The sentinels hesitated. Then, the largest one bowed slightly. "The Queen has not spoken in 100 years. She sits upon her frozen throne, her tears turned to ice." "I will find her," said Angelina, "and help her remember warmth." The sentinels parted, letting her pass through the shimmering gates of Frostvale. The frozen queen inside, the frozen kingdom, was breathtaking. Castles of ice, trees carved from crystal, rivers of silver frost. But it was silent. Even the wind seemed afraid to whisper. At the heart of the palace sat Queen Seraphina, a woman of incredible beauty. Her skin shone like snow under moonlight, and her eyes were pale blue, almost lifeless. A crown of icicles rested upon her head, and her hand gripped a scepter made of eternal frost. "Why do you disturb my silence?" the queen's voice echoed coldly. Angelina stepped forward. "Because silence is not peace, your majesty. Your kingdom is dying. The warmth that once filled your people's hearts is gone." Seraphina's gaze darkened. "Warmth betrayed me. Love betrayed me. Now I rule a kingdom that will never hurt me again." Angelina frowned softly. "To feel nothing is the greatest hurt of all." The queen raised her scepter. "Leave, child of light, before your glow is extinguished." But Angelina stood her ground. Her staff shone brighter, casting warm hues across the frozen throne. "I see your pain, Seraphina. You built walls of ice to protect yourself, but they've trapped your heart inside." For a moment, something flickered in the queen's eyes. Sorrow. The heart beneath the ice. The ground trembled. A deep rumble shook the palace as cracks appeared in the floor. From beneath the throne rose a monstrous figure made of black ice. The Frost Wraith, the embodiment of Seraphina's grief and anger. "I am her sorrow," it roared. "You cannot melt me." The wraith lashed out, sending shards of ice toward Angelina. She raised her staff, deflecting them with beams of light, but the cold bit deep, and frost began to creep up her arm. "Leora," she called. The falcons soared above, scattering trails of sapphire fire. The flames melted the ice around Angelina. She pressed her palm to her heart, and her crystal began to pulse with golden warmth. "I do not fight you," she whispered. "I free you." She thrust her staff into the ice at her feet, sending warmth radiating through the palace. The golden light spread, melting the darkness. The frost wraith screamed, breaking apart into mist. As it vanished, Seraphina gasped and fell to her knees. When the light faded, the queen wept. Tears, not ice. The frost melted from her heart, the thaw of Frostvale. By dawn, the once frozen kingdom bloomed anew. Flowers of crystal petals opened for the first time in a century. Rivers ran freely, singing with joy. The people of Frostvale emerged from their icy slumber, cheering their queen's return. Seraphina approached Angelina and took her hands. "Your light warmed a heart that believed it could never feel again." "How can I ever thank you?" Angelina smiled gently. "By letting your heart stay open, even when it hurts. That's where true strength lives." The queen placed a snowflake-shaped pendant around Angelina's neck. "May this gift remind you that even ice can sparkle when touched by kindness." Return to Lumina. When Angelina returned home, Lumina greeted her with sunlight and birdsong once more. Master Orin met her at the palace steps, smiling proudly. "The frost has retreated," he said. "You've restored the balance of warmth and cold." Angelina looked toward the mountains, where Frostvale glowed faintly in the distance. "Every heart," she said softly, "has winter and summer inside it. We must learn to love both." Thank you for watching Ritzy Lucy English Story Channel. Hope you enjoyed the first episode of Crystal Princess and her adventures. Stay tuned for more episodes of Crystal Princess with her magical adventures. Please subscribe to our Ritzy Lucy channel.